Hello, everyone. This is Max Fear Surface completed with Artemis Blades. This is the first ever Artemis Blades Max Fear Surface clear and my personal first Max Fear Surface clear. So, why would I do a Max Fear Surface clear? And the answer is Boded. Boded told me that I couldn't do it, so I had to prove him wrong, and that's why we're here today. I managed to do it as of yesterday, as of recording this, and yeah, I'm really happy with myself. Even though the winning run was kind of goofy as hell, like I had way cooler, way better runs than this one. This one just kind of hit everything it needed to, and because of that, I was able to win without too much trouble in this run. And yeah, so Max Fear Surface is like a completely different beast to Max Fear Underworld. I don't know if it's necessarily harder per se. If you want like a good metric, it took me like a month and a half to beat Max Fear Underworld when I was like barely when I went from like barely being able to beat 62s to getting to be able to beat the 67 Underworld. And then Max Fear Surface took me a full month of grinding after beating 3 Max Fear Underworld clears. Now, obviously, that's a lot of that can come down to just learning Surface in general. Still, that's a lot of extra time to have to beat a Max Fear Surface clear over after already doing a Max Fear Underworld clear. But still, I think that you can infer what you want based on that. Surface is an entirely different beast to Underworld because it has just a very different overall run feel. In the Underworld, you kind of go through Erebus, which is a moderately difficult region with a moderately difficult boss, and you don't really have all that much control over what you get out of Erebus. Whereas on Surface, you go to Aphira, you check your hammer room, and then you reset if you don't get trick knives, and that makes getting a good build on Surface a little bit easier. Being able to G-Gen reset for trick knives every single time definitely sped up this process a lot more than it otherwise would have. But still, even with a good build coming out of Aphira, it's still a very difficult region. You oftentimes can't get any extra build scaling. You can't get any extra boons when you go through Thessaly, although this run was an exception. So you kind of have to make sure that your build is ready to take on Olympus by the end of Aphira, and that can make things really, really difficult. So yeah, and the difficulty curve of Surface is very different to the difficulty curve of Underworld. It starts out pretty darn easy, but it scales really hard once you hit Olympus until you hit Heroes, at which point it peaks, and then it kind of goes a little bit down and back up again for Surface. Whereas with Underworld, it goes up and peaks at not Olympus, Oceanus, and then it goes back down and then goes back up again in Tartarus. And I feel like the difference in the way the difficulty scales versus on Surface versus Underworld is actually really cool and stuff, but unfortunately Surface is kind of like unbalanced as shit. Like you have enemies that'll hit you from off screen, you have stupid attacks, you have the entire Eris boss fight. We'll get to the jank later in this post commentary video, of course. If you want to see the live commentary versions or the no commentary versions, both of them will be linked in the description. And without further ado, let's get into the run.
This is fate.
All right, switching to post-commentary mode. We get life tax to start. That's great. It's pretty easy to maintain life tax through to at least Olympus in Surface, and it becomes very useful to have that extra bank of 150 health to tank just a lot more stuff in general. We get hammer C2, that's great. We want to get a hammer as soon as possible so we know whether or not to reset, or just so we can get our good hammer as soon as possible. We really want trick knives here. Reaper knives is only really good enough to get you to Olympus, at which point you need to hit trick knives if you're going to want to win the run. So we just want to hit trick knives first as soon as possible, and we do.
The city square.
Heading to the city square, we are looking for Hera, and we do see her alongside Aphrodite, Apollo, and Poseidon. Pretty solid Aphira, if I do say so myself. Checking in with Medea, we get Enfeeblement of Towers. It's going to be great in the Heroes fight, and just in general helping out on Surface, because there's a lot of projectile enemies on Surface, and having slower projectiles just makes things so much easier. Of course, Corrosion on Sight is still better, but I can't complain about slower projectiles. In this room, we can see a bunch of anchors. Another trait of Surface enemies is that they have like a lot of health. Like you can see that these, even with trick knives, these anchors are taking forever to die. I guess the Aphira enemies are generally fine, but the Thessaly enemies, ugh. I think it's just a matter of you get so many good boons out of Aphira that to counterbalance it, they increase the health of Thessaly enemies and beyond. But still, it is kind of ridiculous, especially when it comes to mini-bosses. We get Soar and Flourish here, fantastic. Hitch is incredibly powerful and basically mandatory for Surface because the rooms are so difficult to deal with that Hitch, getting that room clear with Hitch becomes incredibly powerful. Hitch is obviously very powerful with Trick Knives. You can Hitch, because you can Hitch an entire room very easily, and then the blades come back and deal damage to all the hitched enemies, and it's just a lot. It's really good. Hitch is also very powerful versus a Hero's Fight. It can help you absolutely melt it. If you use Knuckle Bones, you can deal a huge burst of damage and phase both of them instantly, as long as you have a good like a Hereditary Bane to go alongside it, and maybe a Cherished Heirloom. So yeah, Hitch good. We definitely want, we definitely are happy to see it. So we get Aphrodite here. Aphrodite has a couple of good boons that we want, namely Glamour Gain for a weakness effect, which will help us tank a lot more damage, especially to the bosses that deal so much like Eris and Heroes, and then we can get a Wispy Wiles later for some huge dodge chance, especially with the Apollo pool. Maybe if we see Zeus later, we can get even more air. We see Artemis here, Timer's Pause, that's how you know it's Artemis. We're looking for, there are a couple of boons you can want from Artemis. Mainly we're looking for Killing Stroke. Vital Signs is also very powerful, scales super well with Rarity. Pressure Points is a solid backup choice. You can't complain about a 3% crit chance globally. What else is there? Not much else really, but a Timer Pause is really good in general, so we're glad to see Artemis here. Anyways, regardless of what she gives us. You can see the Hitch really popping off in these rooms as I'm able to Hitch all the enemies super quickly, and then they all take Hitch damage. And that room was just dealt with super quickly. We get a Killing Stroke here. Perfect. So Killing Stroke is very powerful, as specials are pretty much our primary source of damage, and getting 10% crit rate on that is very good. So we have an Apollo boon room. Apollo is great for Blinding Rush, which is just great dodge chance. We can stack it with a Wispy Wiles later. He also gives us air boons, which can help stack our Wispy Wiles even higher, should we choose to get Wispy Wiles. He also has the Blinding Rush is also great for movement speed, and it can lead into a Backburner, which is a huge damage buff as well. So pretty much we're just looking for Blinding Rush. And we hit it. Pretty good. So here I consider taking Poseidon over Hermes. Poseidon pairs very well with Aphrodite. I've had a lot of successful builds with Poseidon and Aphrodite. Poseidon gets you Water Fitness, which can pair with the water boons that Aphrodite has, and then you can also get Glamour Gain with a Flutter Flourish and Island Getaway, which gives you a lot of defense and then a ton of offense. And then with Glamour Gain, you have even more global defense because global weak. And then with the Water Fitness health, you can just get super duper tanky with Poseidon and Aphrodite. However, since I already got rid of the attack from Aphrodite, I can't get Island Getaway, and that's kind of like a huge part of the combo, so I decided to just go for Hermes. Here we get Success Rate and Stutter Step. Stutter Step is really good on Trick Knives because it just makes you dash more frequently, and that just helps your mobility out with dash strike builds in general. But I think Success Rate because it not only affects my Killing Stroke, but it also affects the aspect bonus of Riposte. The crit chance goes higher than 50%. We see Hef as our fourth god. That makes me happy that I skipped Poseidon because Hef is a fantastic fourth god here. I'm just like admiring this build right now because it's really, really good. This is like a top tier build getting out of Aphira. Entering Polyphemus here. Polyphemus is a pretty easy fight, way easier than Hecate. He's also a very quick fight if you play it right. But at the same time, if you get careless, he can very easily hit you for a lot of damage. So it's not necessarily a cakewalk, but again, it's still pretty easy. He does the little searching around animation, which means that he's going to do the boulder attack if you hit him. I have parry, so I don't really care. Like with the Underworld Clear, I'm weaving in my normal specials into my attack pattern in order to make the most out of my crits. Because the Trick Knives do not crit, only the base dash strike does. You want to weave in your specialist with your dash strike in order to take advantage of your riposte with the crits on Aspect of Artemis when you have trick knives. And that's Ephira. Very good Ephira. We have a lot of time. We have a great build. Coming out of it, we have 150 life packs and a ton of health. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. Big timepiece here. There's not really many other things that can help me. Right now, I just want more boons, especially like defensive ones, like maybe a Trusty Shield. We could also want Hereditary Bane for even more room clear. We want that back burner as well. And then Aphrodite for the could be Wispy Wiles, Broken Result, etc. So yeah, timepiece is the pretty obvious pick here. Earlier, I was talking about Water Fitness and Wispy Wiles, and that brings me to a point on surface, which is that infusions are really good on surface because you can stack so many boons, especially with like timepiece, as I took here. You can get a lot of elements up to get huge infusion buffs. In particular, Slow Cooker is probably the most powerful infusion. If you get Hestia with Apollo and Hephaestus, you can get so many fire boons, and I've gotten a 10 fire Slow Cooker before, which is huge. That's more than a Reaper Knives. So yeah, infusions are really good. Of course, when you pick infusion boons, you want to make sure that the gods you get synergize with those infusion boons. So like I said, you want fire boons with Slow Cooker, so that means you want Hephaestus and Apollo. And then with Water Fitness, you would want water boons, so that would be Demeter and Aphrodite, etc. So yeah, you definitely want to be playing around infusion boons whenever possible. Another boat. Giant anchors are really scary because they cover so much space with a single hit. We also have those little auto seekers, which are really annoying. And then I get hit by a droplet here. Droplets are really annoying. They're like pinheads, except they deal 18 damage. So, rip my golly blocks. We actually had a Hera boon here, which is very unusual for Thessaly. Usually you get like one onion and then you don't see a single normal boon unless you see another mid-boss or a trial. But here we actually managed to get a Hera boon, so yeah, that's really nice. You'll start seeing me do a lot of defensive parries here. Obviously the parries give you crits, which is great offensive power. However, parries are also very good defensively because you can just kind of hold them up and then anything that hits you will give you 1 second of iframes that give you a lot of safety. So a lot of the time during this run, you'll see me, after I do a dash strike, you'll see me hold up my O attack for just a little bit, just in case something randomly hits me right after my dash strike is done. I choose Bridal Glow here, and it hits Glamour Gain, which is funny because in my head I was like, oh, what if this hits Glamour Gain? And then it hit Glamour Gain. To be fair, Proper Upbringing was definitely the play there. I had so many great boons to hit with Proper Upbringing, and I just didn't click it for some reason. Don't ask me why. It's a really dumb play. And as if this Thessaly couldn't get any better, we see an Apollo boon now too. So this could be a back burner or maybe even a self-healing. Either way, it's really cool that we're seeing multiple boons in Thessaly because this is going to help my build scale a lot into Eris, who we'll talk about more later during her actual fight. In this room, I deal with a lot of projectile enemies, namely Satyrs and Blaskets. Satyrs are really annoying because they're designed for Olympus and their projectiles move super fast, but there's like no cover on some of these Thessaly boats, which makes them like super stupid under Valve Menace. The same thing goes for Auto Watchers as well, which are my least favorite enemy to deal with on surface. Blaskets are just annoying because they cover so much space with their triple spread projectiles. As you can see, I kind of have to like walk around them really awkwardly. So we have Backburner here, which is awesome. And then I see Mini-Boss Door, and I'm like, oh no, am I going to see Charybdis here? But thankfully we don't see Charybdis, we see Yargonaut. Charybdis is really stupid because she takes like a whole minute, and that's annoying as hell. I get hit by this Yarg really awkwardly. I can get my parry up in time, and then I get hit by the Shamblers here, and then... yeah, Yargonaut is super tanky, and the fight is honestly terrifying, especially with the Shadow. As you can see, I kind of just get sniped from off screen there. So we're already bleeding off our life tax, which is really unfortunate, but... again, this is still way better than Charybdis. I'm going to be real here. Charybdis just takes so long, and it's just horrible. Apollo Boon here, we get self-healing. That's pretty good, because self-healing... it's basically just like a 30% damage resistance, but complicated as long as you don't take too much damage in the process. Although, to be fair, we do have... it's not going to pair well with our life packs. Hermes here. Hasty Retreat is a good boon. I decided to pick Travel Deal just because it activates self-healing and also can get me more boons later down the line. So on this boat we see Heracles. I'd rather see Heracles in Olympus because in Olympus the encounters that he skips are way longer than they will be in Thessaly because he can only appear in the first encounter of a boat, and that usually is pretty short, so he doesn't really skip all that much time. But in Olympus, the rooms that he gets can be like really chill in comparison to normal rooms, especially because the timer is paused. Right here, I get a nice dodge from an Auto Watcher. You can see why I hate Auto Watchers, especially on Thessaly right there. I really didn't have like a whole lot of options for dealing with that there, except just running directly behind it. And if it was armored, I wouldn't have been able to stagger it. It would have tracked me really so much better than a normal Auto Watcher, and yeah, it would have been pretty bad. But thankfully, we are totally fine, and that lucky dodge was very useful. See some health here. Decide to take the health. Right here, you could argue that I probably should purge this because I have a travel deal and I potentially have enough money to buy 2 boons with it, but I decided to just take the health anyways because building up health is always good. Being able to tank more damage is always good. In Olympus, you generally do take a lot of chip damage randomly, so it's good to have up a good health pool into heroes just so that you don't just get instantly shredded by random Satyr Sappers and Auto Watchers and everything. Going to End Shop, I don't have enough for a boon, but thankfully I have enough for a boon bag, and we get the boon bag. So this menu here, none of these choices really do all that much. I mean, they're all good, but they're not like, none of these are like really standout boons here that I like really need. So I end up spending like so long on this menu trying to figure out which one I should pick, and I'm asking the people that I'm in VC with which one I should pick. Spiritual Affirmation, obviously it's nice for the extra max HP. Rapture Ring is nice for grouping up enemies. I don't really need the weak effect because I already have Glamour Gain. And Ecstatic Obsession is good with making one enemy not attack me on a screen, which can be really useful in Olympus, obviously, as some of the enemies are very dangerous, and having one of them be neutralized by the charm is really good. I end up taking Spiritual Affirmation here when I have no idea how long. I just spent so much time on this menu, waiting for myself to pass me to pick the Spiritual Affirmation already. I don't know why. I really should not have spent that much time on that menu. Should have just taken the Spiritual Affirmation and gone.
What happened here?
Anyways, Eris. Eris is, in my opinion, the worst boss fight in the game, and it's not even a competition. Eris, her movements are like super unpredictable, and sometimes she just sweeps in a way that makes it very difficult to go across the screen. The ads she spawns are really annoying, especially Auto Watchers in Phase 2. Why is that a thing? The bombs that she throws are not very difficult to deal with on Trick Knives, but they're very difficult to deal with on other aspects. As you can see, I can just like throw my knives out and then let them return to me as the bombs go off. We see shellbacks here. Those are pretty easy to deal with as long as we hitch them early, but if we don't have hitch, then they're a big pain in the ass because they cause so many hitboxes. Eris also has a ton of health, so I'm trying to parry her whenever possible, just to get that extra damage squeezed in. And you can see I am playing very defensively with my parries because I have no idea which direction she's going to go in with her attacks. Sometimes she just goes at really weird angles and just catches you completely off guard. Nice dodge there. Phase her again. And P2 ads, we get lurkers. Again, those are pretty easy to deal with. We just hitch them and kind of just does her thing. Again, still trying to play very defensive with the parries. And also another thing about Eris is that she flies around all the time. I guess it's very in character for her to be annoying as hell, but still, I hate it. She also sometimes, after she fires all her bombs off, oh, I got hit there, that's unfortunate, couldn't get my parry off in time, and then I get hit again, rip. Sometimes when she flies away to get her bombs off, she comes back in like a ton of visual clutter. Also, if you saw there, the angle, when I got that miss, the angle which she fired at was like completely unpredictable. Like she swept across literally the entire screen. I would have had to dodge downwards or like below her, which is like so weird. I don't know. But yeah, this fight just sucks. It's really bad. Just want to get it over as quickly as possible. And we're into final phase. During final phase, Eris is guaranteed to do an attack right after firing all the bombs, so we just get ready for that. And after a little bit of an intermission from Eris just taking her sweet-ass time to come back, we finally beat her. Thank God. Get on my face, Eris. Really hate that boss. Alright. Heading into Olympus now, the DCF of choice is going to be the Knucklebones. Knucklebones is really powerful against heroes because if you get Hitch and Cherished Heirloom or Hereditary Bane, you can deal a huge chunk of damage to both heroes as they both take damage to the Knucklebones, and then you can Hitch both of them, so the Hitch damage deals a ton from the Knucklebones. And it makes the fight so much faster and easier because of the damage resistance as well. That fight is very overtuned in comparison to like everything else on surface, so being able to make that fight a lot easier is very useful. Heroes have so much health and they deal so much damage. Well, they don't deal a lot of damage, they just have a lot of attacks that are very quick and difficult to deal with. And timer is a huge problem in Olympus. It's very difficult to build up a lot of skips in Olympus. You usually have to come in with a good amount of time from Thessaly, but unfortunately we don't really have all that much time built up from a good Thessaly. So we're gonna have to get through the heroes really quickly if we're gonna want to be able to win this run. Of course, a Polyp spawned on top of me and eats my Golly block right away, so that's really fun. Thanks, Polyp. Polyps are really stupid. Honestly, so many enemies on surface are really stupid. If I went over every single stupid part of every single surface enemy that was stupid, I would be here forever. Just understand, it's really silly. It's really stupid. I hate surface. So Olympus rooms have a tendency to take forever for some reason. In general, you want to be taking indoor rooms more often than outdoor rooms because indoor rooms can have fountains, which is a skip, and they're just overall a lot more manageable because they're usually a bit smaller as well. In this room, I have a moment where one enemy is alone, and for some reason on Olympus, normally the next wave is supposed to spawn whenever only one enemy is left, but for some reason on Olympus, sometimes when there's one enemy left, it doesn't spawn the next wave for whatever reason, and I don't really know why. So here, some Auto Watchers spawn, and I don't realize that they're frenzied in time. In fact, I realize that they're frenzied right about now. And because of that, I eat a ton of damage that I really shouldn't have. I should have just played that way safer, but again, I didn't really see that they were frenzied until a little bit too late. Get Onion here. Great to see Onion as soon as possible. For some reason, Olympus gives you, like, on surface, you get a ton of boons in Ephira. You get, like, no boons at Thessaly unless you're me on this run, and then you get a ton of boons in Olympus. It's really weird. In this room, we have Armored Auto Watchers, and they aren't really grouping up at all, so I can't hitch them all and then damage them all at once, so this room starts taking absolutely forever. And not helped by the fact that we have Miasma and Orbitals to deal with at the same time, so a really big time loss here that I'm not happy to take when I really need as much time as possible going into heroes. And to rub salt into the wounds, we lose our last Golly block, and because we have no defensive tools like Trusty Shield or Snow Queen, we are really on the hook here. We have only 52 life stacks and 150 HP left, and that's all we've got. So we're going to have to really lock in for the rest of this Olympus. And now, if you thought that last room was bad, here are big satyrs, and they aren't grouping up, and they're sitting in the corner of the room, which has like no cover, and I got sniped by that Draken from the tail slam, or the tail swipe just then. So we're really hurting. Some more satyrs drop in here, are teleporting, so I gotta be a little bit safe here. Thankfully, they're a lot more easier to deal with. I get stuck in the corner there, and then here, so you saw right there, my my blade barely grazed that satyr and didn't stagger it, and because I didn't stagger it, I ate a shot to the face. I even paused there because I was so upset, and then to top it all off, we get a bird extension. Thanks, Eidos. Really, really comedic timing there. Nice dodge, though. Thank you, Days. At least, if nobody else got me, I know Apollo got me. Apollo, my goat. So yeah, at this point, I'm kind of like, man, this run is so dead. I don't even hit the Trusty Shield there. Volcanic Trick is nice, but we were really hoping for a Trusty Shield, but we didn't get it. So I'm like, yeah, this run is just kind of dead. Like, my timer's kind of bad. My health is in the gutter because I don't have any defensive tools anymore. I've lost all my life packs. I do have like a decent amount of max health, but it's not a whole lot. At least you see Talos here instead of Draken. Talos is a lot easier than Draken and also generally takes less time. Draken is just a really stupid, silly mini-boss that does like really fast attacks that have huge AoE, but Talos is a lot more constrained, and the attacks are way easier to dodge if you know what you're doing. Speaking of dodges, nice dodge there. But yeah, Talos is pretty easy and simple, so that's the fight. Fortunately took some damage to that auto forcer, but that's okay. Anyways, we get Trusty Shield here for sure, right?
Save it for Prometheus next time.
Apparently not. Just have to take the Furnace Blast there. It's the only thing that actually does anything. But hey, our luck is at least turning around because we finally got our hammer. Normally you're supposed to get these way earlier, but I got mine a little bit late. And it's a Fountain Room, and it's Reaper Knives, so now all of a sudden things are looking kind of alright. Timer is really scary. Normally you want to have like at least 2 minutes going into heroes, but with the build we have cooking, we might be able to take them out faster, but who knows? Well, I mean, obviously I do, but like, in the moment I'm like, this might, like, I don't know. I'm unsure. This run is just, we're so back, it's so over, we're so back, it's so over. It's just every single room flip-flopping, bipolar. You can really see the power of Reaper Knives in this room, as not only do I have the extra base power, I also have a larger hitbox size for my knives, which is really useful for tagging enemies at long range, and potentially leads to more triple hits of the Reaper Knives as well. Pair that with the killing stroke and the success rate means that we're doing a lot of damage, so even though our timer is not that great, we might still be able to make it past heroes given a little bit of finesse. Really clean parry there. Defensive parries are really coming in clutch at helping me deal with the end lag of the dash strike, as I'm able to just pull up the parry, and if something tags me while I'm in the dash strike end lag, it just gets absorbed and I get my crits, which is really nice. A bunch of auto forcers spawn in here, and this is really satisfying the way I hedge them all. Just absolutely obliterate everything. Really super satisfying. This is my favorite part of how playing Trick Knives Blades. Anyways, end shop. Finally going to heroes with a really bad timer, quite frankly. But we get a Hera boon, and it is Hereditary Bane. That's a really good pickup. That'll help speed up our heroes a lot. And you think we finally get a Trusty Shield here, but no, I get trolled by both Rude Awakening and Premium Service showing up on the same menu. Both of those boons are not very useful right now, so I kind of just take the security system. But man, this is such a goofy menu. Like, the low percent chance to hit boons are so much worse than the Trusty Shield, which is almost certainly going to be like the next boon in line to get picked here because of denial. So I'm just getting trolled left and right by half. Trusty Shield was just not meant to be. Alright, heroes. So right here, just kind of doing whatever while I have my security system. And then I noticed that I phased Heracles instantly. Like, yeah, we did have the Knuckle Bones damage, but holy moly, that was a fast phase still. So at this point, I'm like, you know, actually, we might have enough damage to get through despite our terrible time. So at this point, I'm just going balls to the wall. I don't care anymore. We are just going in, trying to do as much damage as possible. Heracles is almost dead already, and it's looking a lot better. We're running into second memory game, as Heracles is also almost dead. Decided to play it a little bit safe during memory game. While I'm damaging Heracles, I am keeping track of the memory game as it goes. Here, I use my parries to be a little bit safe. Heracles can tag you during memory game, and that can be really, really annoying, so I just parry to be a little bit safe, and that is Heracles dead. So now we just have basically just a normal, unrivaled Ramacles phase 3, so it's going to be quite mellow. We can easily deal with this in less than 30 seconds with what we have. Just trying to stay away from Prometheus as his attacks can come out really quickly from close range. And that's it. That is honestly one of the worst heroes fights I've ever had, but the damage was so absurd that it just didn't matter. I just was able to face tank whatever came at me and kill them before they killed me. Anyways, heading into Summit. Summit is easier than Olympus, but it's still definitely a region that you can choke in, especially to the Typhon fight. There's nothing we're going to be picking other than White Antler here. Nice extra dose, thanks Apollo. I buy Center Heart, I don't know why. Again, I'm going to be antlering, so the Center Heart isn't going to be doing anything for me. With the success rate, the Antler is going to have a higher crit chance, and with the Killing Stroke, I basically have a Cherished Heirloom White Antler right now, so our damage is going to be absolutely absurd as we're going to be blazing through this summit, which is how we want to do it, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, the best defense is a good offense. If you want to have the most success on max gear, you want to kill things before they kill you, because they kill you fast. Anyways, room 1. Thankfully, we don't have any Landrakens in this room. Landrakens make the rooms take forever. Really weird hitboxes there. Those brutes absolutely should have hit me, but I guess they just didn't. I don't know. Guess I just weren't feeling it that day. Anyways, very good C1. Usually that room takes forever, but thankfully ours was good. I try to parry the ball before it splits, but unfortunately because of hard target, I can't. And right here, the Revenant respawns the Polyp right on top of me, even though I already collected the Revenant, and it played the sound and everything, and it sucks. Anyways, here's one's a Typhon. If you thought heroes died fast, yeah, they're dead. Bye, twins. Goodbye. We basically have, like, this is like P-array level bullshit right now. So I have to lock in, because this is probably like one of the straight up best runs that I could have. Right there, I'm parrying preemptively because they're armored enemies. I don't want to waste, like, I don't want to go any, I don't want to take any risks with just attacking them when I can't stagger them. I just want to, like, attack them, let them give me my iframes, and then just take them out with the iframes still active. Way safer than attacking them and gambling on whether or not they'll hit me before I strip their armor. Anyways, moving on to mini boss. I have to look at my Aphrodite boons just to make sure that I haven't lost any of them, and thankfully, or I haven't lost all my Aphrodite boons because of denial, and thankfully I still have a few Aphrodite boons to pick up, so this is a safe pick. We get Tail here. We're looking for Eye, but Tail is okay. Tail is a pretty simple fight. The ads from Battle of Shadow are really annoying to deal with. Landrakens are just the absolute worst. But they're definitely manageable if you play it a little bit safe. Once again, Tail Typhon absolutely mounting. Even without a second enemy to hitch off of, the damage is still absolutely absurd. And we are into Typhon with 4 minutes on the clock, which is really good. The entire first phase of Summit took just over a minute, so really crazy damage going into this, and I really cannot throw this opportunity away, I know in the moment. Heading into End Shop. Here, we're looking for armor mainly. I mean, we do have some armor in the back, but more armor is always going to be good. Again, I have to check my boons here to make sure that I haven't run out of boons from all the gods. I checked Hephaestus. I think I'm out of boons from Hephaestus, but, like, I completely forgot that he trolled me out of my trusty shield this entire time. So, yeah. Anyways, 100 armor, 2 Galley blocks into this final fight, and some of the craziest damage I will ever have on this weapon. So, the chances are looking very bright for me, but again, Typhon is easy to choke. Like, if he can strip all my barriers and my armor in, like, a single hit or two, and then sometimes you have weird overlaps with patterns with Chronos, and those can just absolutely destroy you. So, definitely not a free fight. Nice parry there. I definitely should not have dashed at Typhon. That was really stupid of me, but thankfully I get bailed out by the parry there. Here, the X-Spawn max distance away from each other, which sucks. I cannot hitch them and have them both take damage, but it's okay. We deal with them so quickly that we really don't lose a whole lot of time from that, nor do they hatch in time to mess with my run, because I have lost runs to an enemy hatching and then instantly damaging me. Right here, I get a little bit too risky with the chin slam again, and I pay the price for it that time. Right here in the mid phase, I just kind of hold out my parry. Really nice and safe way to deal with all the projectile spam. And then once everything is gone, I can finally start wailing on Typhon again. Right here, we'll take this safe zone on the right side. Chronos can't hit us with a dash, and Typhon can't hit us with a tongue there, so good spot to be in. And we are into P4. Once again, the eggs spawn very far away from each other, so we have to take a little bit of extra time to take them out. So P4 Typhon is really difficult. There's a lot of incredibly insane pattern overlaps between Chronos and Typhon that can happen. When he does a chin slam, he also causes a bunch of tentacles to spawn up from the ground, which causes a lot of space to be taken up. Right here, he spawns a bunch of orbs in front of himself, and that obviously takes up a lot of space. And now I have to do a dodge through the tongue swipe. And then in comes a slide throw and a knife shot at the same time. I don't know how I didn't dodge that. That would have been the sickest dodge ever. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be, I guess. Tongue slam again, going to the safe spot right now. Another slide throw. That time I parry it, so that's really good. And we are into Babality. So Babality is really easy to screw up, but because I have so much extra armor, you're gonna see a crazy strat come into play here. Because this Babality does not go well, but not in the way you might think. So the Chronos orbs don't deal a whole lot of damage. it's really only Typhon's attacks that you have to watch out for. But because the Chronos orbs don't do a lot of damage, they just hit me, and then I get pity iframes. So I'm able to basically just abuse the pity iframes from the Chronos orbs in order to make this the easiest fatality of my entire life. And yeah, I'll leave you with my reaction. GG.
Yes.
Holy fuck! Let's fucking go, dude! Oh my god. Oh, it's over. Fucking die, you fucking piece of shit bastard. Get out of here. Get out of my face. Let's go! Oh my god. Oh, I'm so happy. Holy fuck. It's over. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to give a shout out to Boated for encouraging me to do this in the first place by calling me bad and telling me that I couldn't do it. You unironically were my biggest motivator, although you probably already knew that. Thank you to everybody who chilled in the VC with me whenever I was grinding this. It made this grind a hell of a lot more tolerable than doing it just alone. And again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.